Welcome to What's Your Story, where we, Jamie Marco,
and Stan Brown,
delve into the extraordinary lives of everyday people.
Listen in as we uncover the unique tales that shape who we are,
one story at a time.
Hey, let's get ready to explore today's story.
Let's do it.
We're back.
We're back. So
I already said it 3 times. I said we're back. You said
we're back.
that's 4 times.
Is that like saying Beetlejuice?
No.
You know what's funny is in language, how people sometimes like repeat themselves like that. You know, like, oh, awesome. It's like, why do you think people do that?
I think it's a nervous tick.
You do?
We had
I'm gonna eat my soup while you're talking.
We had a tour guide in Germany, and every time she spoke, the last thing was, "Hmm." And once she knows, and now we're going to pass those particular castles on the other side. "Hmm." So all we heard was the, "Hmm." I never saw the castle. Hey, look at that. "Hmm."
And you couldn't let it go, probably. You probably made a thing out of it. Did she know that you recognized that?
No, I don't think so. Once you aware of something, we all have our little ticks, like people say, I'm going to do, hey, you know what I'm talking about? Hey, if you want to communicate well, and it's a lesson I'm talking to myself at the same time, learn to slow down the rapidity of your words and try to put more content in them.
Well, it's so funny is that my sister used to know somebody that had like the shoulder shrug thing.
Mm-hmm.
And he'd talk and be like, shoulder shrug. You can't see, listener, you can't see it, but like a whole shoulder shrug.
With the sound?
Oh, I'll have to ask her. I don't know if he had a sound or not, but he did like a whole shoulder shrug thing. So yeah.
It's little nervous ticks.
Yeah.
That's why once you get to the stage in your life where you're ultimately confident in your abilities and feel comfortable with people, you hopefully slow it down, get your idea across better, and you feel better. There's no recriminations.
Okay, sounds good. I'm gonna have my last bite of soup before we let our guest in. Is that okay? Nice soup. All right, should we let our guest in? Should make this happen? She's a firehouse. She's a firecracker.
Is she a firehouse or is she a firecracker?
Firecracker. I've known her for over almost 30 years, actually.
Well,
Craziness.
Since the doorbell just rang, let her in.
All right, let's do it. So yeah, I've known her for like 34 years, 35 years. Again, I don't do math in public.
You're dating me.
I am dating. I'm not dating you. That's gross.
That's what 4 out of 3 people say. Hello, good day.
So I'll get you come off mute. You're on mute. Can you hear us? It's totally okay.
It's okay. We read lips.
Yeah, there we go. We are recording. I just said to my dad, I've known you for like over 34 years, right?
Yeah, I mean since 90, I guess 92 or 93, right?
That's insane.
Well, you were both alive then. What's insane about it? She's amazed by the most mundane things. You know what I mean? Life just, it's awesome.
Well, as I said, we're recording. Thank you for saying yes when I reached out and I was like, hey, Julie, would you like to be a guest in our podcast? So thank you so much for saying yes.
She initially said no.
She may have said
no. No, thanks for thinking of me.
Of course. I think you just have such a cool, I think everyone that we talk to, right? Not to discount your story, but the whole point is that like, we don't ever realize people's stories, what it took them to get where they are, or where they are, or why they are where they are, all these different things. So we're happy to talk with you.
They may not even realize their own stories. It's true. Because you get caught up, you're living the story yourself. It's very subjective. Yeah.
Did you ever meet my dad back in the day?
I'm sorry?
Have you ever met my dad like back
I don't think I have.
Yeah.
Well, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Stan instead of Mr. Brown, even though that's probably what we would have called our friends' parents back in the day.
That's what my kids call me.
And yeah. So, listener, Julie and I went to high school together, and so very cool to connect. But that is not what this story is about. But before we get started, Julie, so we typically ask the same question of all of our guests.
Okay.
We'll start there. You may have heard from other episodes. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being it is a day that you should not be peopling. And now our speech teacher, Ron Carr, would hate that I just made up a word, but whatever. It's a Jamieism. So you should not be peopling. To a 10 being that it's the best day you've ever lived. There's not a worry in the world and everything is coming up roses. What is your number today?
Well, I don't know that you've had anyone at a 10 for the last 6 months, probably. I would assume. Wow. I think I have, I think I have my internal number, and then I have an external number. Just my concern for those outside is a much lower number than maybe my number. And I think
Technically, we call that schizophrenia.
yeah, well, I don't know. No, I think that's just human nature.
Yeah.
I think right now on a scale of 1 to 10 for the external, and maybe we get to this, maybe we don't. I've been writing a nonfiction book, and when I'm doing that, I do an insane amount of research, and so I've probably been doing a fair amount of research that depresses me a little bit. So I would say on a scale of 1 to 10, on the external, I'm sitting about a 4, and on the internal, I'm probably sitting about a 7.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
What would it take? Let's go with both those then. What would it take for both numbers to go up 0.25%? Like we're not asking for a massive
Yeah.
lift, but just like a little bit to be like, yes, there is a brighter side, or there are some even better things that could happen. What would have to happen to
You
both
got
those
a better
numbers?
shot of getting her internal number up, I'll tell you.
Right. Well, actually on the personal side, so I am 100% happy with my life. I'm 100% happy with my business. And I think sometimes maybe I carry a weight, and I'm a little bit of a perfectionist. Sometimes I carry a weight that's probably heavier than what it needs to be or what it is. I would say personally, I'd like to see, I would like to see a different administration, so others can carry less burden in the future. And I think some things are going that way. And then personally, I just want more time. And you can't manufacture that.
Yeah.
So I just want more time to do a lot of the fun things I enjoy doing, because I sometimes feel a little bit married to the business and to doing all of these other great things like the writing thing, but I can use some more tennis time. I can use, things like that.
You do realize that you control those issues,
I
though.
know, I do. I do. I do.
Just jumping in, just jumping in.
I know.
From an older guy who has less time than you.
I know. I
Most
know.
likely.
They're so busy in retirement. Oh my gosh, so busy.
Don't you hate that?
Well, I think that there's so many things going on, and we like to listen. It's your story, and we talk to people from so many different walks of life. But let's start off with where are you right now? I know where you are, but why don't you tell our listeners where you are calling us in from right now? It looks like you're in a cool like
Okay.
pub or something, by the way.
It looks like I'm where?
In a cool pub. I don't know what that means.
No, this is my house.
Oh.
So
You live in a pub? You live in a pub? Dear.
I'm in the thriving metropolis of Cramerton, North Carolina. So if you find us on a map, we're a little bit west of Charlotte. I'm in a little community called Kramer Mountain. So we are kind of the last foothills before you get to Charlotte. So I live on the mountain. My husband and I, we built our house in 2007. So we are in essence paid off, which is lovely. But it's that's where I'm at physically. If you want me to tell you kind of where I'm at business wise and all that good stuff.
In a minute. We'll get there.
Okay.
What brought you to that area in North Carolina?
So being just outside of Charlotte, I went to Winthrop University, as did my husband. I went up there on cross country track and academic scholarship. That was a big part of coming up here, because my parents, they didn't save. So my parents, a little bit more of the lower income. I knew that either I could get a 50% ride to where I wanted to go and ask to walk on like a University of Florida, or I could take the full ride. And so
what was your event?
Well, distance. So 5,000, 10,000, the longer the race, the better for me.
I like to remember you always running.
Yes. And I think, and it was funny because in high school, I didn't start running until my freshman year. I was not part of like 7th, 8th grade track. I just kind of went out my freshman year. A friend of mine from middle school, so I went to McIntosh, Diana Hartnett, she ended up going to Sarasota High, and she had run on the middle school track team, and we were just close friends. And both of us, within the first couple of weeks, it was so difficult. We both wanted to quit, but we kind of kept each other accountable and said, okay, we just got to keep going and keep doing it. By the first race my sophomore year, which I kind of ended my freshman year as being the number 2 runner on our team. By the first race, my freshman year, it was a 5K invitational at Manatee High. The reigning state champion, Liz Lepacki, who had just gotten a full ride to Alabama, was she had never been beat before. And we started the race, and somehow we just kind of stayed together, and the pack just kind of left us, and then she left us, and then it was just me. And so I won that race, which was kind of surprising, because I had no idea that was in me. I mean, I can't beat a reigning state champion. And so
turns out you can.
yeah, it turns out you can. And I think it was kind of ignorance bliss. And then that race there kind of said, okay, Julie, this is what's going to pay for school. So then I was really, really focused on it. And you know me, in high school, I was literally like 105 pounds, if that. Like, I was tiny, but I was running all the time.
What made the difference that day?
I don't know. I don't know. Normally back in the day, we ran 2-mile races primarily, and that one was a 5K. So I don't know if the distance helped me out. If it could have been part ignorant bliss, knowing that, okay, I'm just going to go out and stay with these girls as much as I can. And it just happened. Obviously, I trained really hard over the summer. I ran a lot of road races, and so I had prepared myself, but mentally I had no idea that would happen until it was literally the last maybe half mile. It was just 2 of us, and then all of a sudden she wasn't there anymore.
So, question though, so if you're used to really running a 2 mile, you're doing a 5K, the
Yeah.
pace was different, no?
You know, I don't. I think pace ended up being, and this was kind of a more of a challenging course. I remember there were points you had to kind of run over sand,
Sure.
in some deep grass. Obviously, nothing compared to the Carolinas, where we're running hills and mountains and things like that. But I think I felt like the pace was no different than the 2-mile pace. I probably, and I don't know what the time is. I'd have to look back at my scrapbook, but maybe upper 18s, low 19s. But that would have been the first race of the season.
Safe to say that it was more your inability to think you were going to win and just went out and had a good time?
I don't know that I don't know if it was having a good time. It was I don't think distance running is ever like good time. I've only gotten in a runner's high a couple times in my life. My 10K PR was a runner's high situation. So I don't think it was, I don't know what it was. It just was.
Can you remember as if it was yesterday, or is it not like?
I do remember some parts of the race as if it was yesterday. And it's funny because now I'm a tennis player. I play a lot of singles. Obviously, I transitioned more to singles than doubles. I remember so many of my opponents that I might have even played 3 or 4 years ago. And I remember what their strengths and weaknesses and things like that are. So I don't know, that's just probably a Julie thing.
I mean, I literally remember you. If I think about like going back to high school, I remember you just always running. Like I remember just seeing like
Yeah.
like the runner, but I had no idea that you did that. Even that's crazy. I think that's incredible that you knocked her out and that you remember the names. First of all, you're like,
Oh gosh.
that's
Well, you know what? It was funny. Liz Lepacki's father was in a wheelchair. I think he had cerebral palsy. He had something. But I remember that all of the good runners, their parents always cheered you on, even if they were with other teams. Like I remember a race at Palmetto High School, and it was a relay race early in the year, and I think it was like a 4 by mile, and I'm the anchor leg, but I think getting the baton, I was like 5th or 6th, and the pack was way ahead of me. And I grabbed the baton, and even my shoe went untied after my like first or second lap, but you just kind of keep running, which I don't know how that happens because I always double and triple knot my shoes. But I remember that race vividly, and so I somehow caught up to the pack. Now I end up finishing 3rd, but literally right up next to the other 2 who were like my main rivals. But how I was able to make up like a half a lap on the field, that I totally remember that race.
Are you still in touch with her?
Diana?
No.
Not,
Oh yeah,
oh,
Diana
oh,
and Liz
Liz,
Lepecki. Yeah.
Liz, you know what? I probably haven't talked to her in about 10 years.
Okay.
The manatee girl who was kind of coming up and ended up being a state champion after, like, she was a freshman when I was a senior. We're still friends on Facebook.
I love it.
So I'm still in touch with her.
I love
But
it.
yeah,
So did you grow were you born in Florida?
no, I was born in Cincinnati, Ohio.
Okay.
I lived there for 5 years. My dad worked for US Steel, got transferred up to Michigan for about 5 years. I moved down to Florida in the middle of fifth grade.
Got
So
got it. So
yeah,
you go to high school, you get this like running bug because of
yeah.
your friend has you do this, like you guys connect on that. And then you get a scholarship for that. Do you have siblings as well too? I don't know that
I
answer.
have an older sister. She graduated 93.
Okay.
She did not do any sports. We're very different
Okay.
in many ways.
Got it. And that's
Yeah.
very different. My
Siblings, a
sisters too.
lot of siblings are.
Totally get it. So you graduate, you take this full ride scholarship up to North Carolina. And
Yeah.
then how did you meet your husband when you were there? And
So,
you went to
so
Ryan College too, right? So you
yeah.
obviously
So and my scholarship, it was 50% academic and 50% cross country track. So they get you for the whole year. You have to train the whole year. But my husband played baseball. He had 3/4 of a ride on baseball. And he had signed with Winthrop, which had a good program. I think the summer before his senior year, his whole family went to Clemson. He really wanted to go to Clemson, but Clemson, they were recruiting guys in high school that would potentially eventually go to the draft. So they said, well, you're kind of in our second round. And he went ahead and took the 3/4 ride to Winthrop, knowing he would start all 4 years. And I met him my beginning of my junior year, beginning of his junior year, my sophomore year.
so you're
And
a year
we've
older.
been, yeah, so he's a year older. Although, we graduated the same year because they have such a busy travel spring. They can only take like 12 credit hours. So he was on the 4.5 year plan anyway, and he was getting 5 years paid for. So we just graduated together.
And you knew right away. You met him like
Uh, yeah, I think so. We started our first date was like in November. And I think by the time I went home for winter break, I'm like, that's the guy I'm going to marry.
Woo.
Yeah. Although we didn't get engaged for like 4.5 years, we were not in a rush or anything.
yeah. And then what did you get your degree in again?
It was under exercise physiology. So I actually started out a biology major. I'm using my husband's marketing degree. So, I don't know that
I used my husband's legal degree, not
yeah,
legally.
yeah, right. And I don't know that, I mean, in the cases of like doctors and lawyers and things, you do have to follow a certain path. But I think having a college degree is just excellent. And I do remember that uh, I took the sport management didn't open up until my senior year, and I had excelled at the sport marketing classes, and my advisor just happened to be the sport marketing professor. And he said, hey, there's a internship at IMG. It's very competitive. They only choose 4. They're from all over the country. You should go out for it. So I went out for it. I was the only Carolina person there in the Charlotte office. I think one was from Georgia, one from Indiana, Purdue. I don't know where the other one was from, but I had done a full semester. My last semester, I did a full internship with IMG.
In North Carolina.
In Charlotte, North Carolina. So, Winthrop is literally just across the state line. It's
Sure.
like 30 minutes south. So, yeah. So, and my husband, he had been offered a job before he graduated as well. So, we just, I rented a house with a couple of my running roommates, and then he stayed in like the baseball house another year and just kind of traveled to and from work and saved money and, yeah.
So you go to IMG, you're
Yep.
working there, and you have some pretty big wins there, from what I understand.
Yeah, it was first of all, IMG International Management Group is very well known for being an athlete representation firm, but they are in every facet of sports marketing. So I think one of the appealing things on why I was hired is because I had no clue about NASCAR. Southwest Florida, Sarasota is not like mecca of NASCAR. And I think they, I think they probably said, oh, here's someone in North Carolina who's doing an internship with us who isn't crazy about NASCAR. She might be a good hire.
So they
Yeah.
hired you for your lack of knowledge.
Well,
Yeah,
men
well,
too. But that's
lack of, I wouldn't say lack of knowledge, lack of fandom.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's a
I
great
think,
lens to have though, right? Because like
yeah,
sometimes you get so in the weeds you can't see. And if they're especially trying to grow their fan base, you
right.
want to talk to somebody who's not a fan yet. Yeah.
Right. Well, and we were working primarily on behalf of the sponsors. So, like Coca-Cola, Bank of America, General Mills was my client
Right.
for
Okay.
9.5
Yeah.
years. So,
Little guys.
yeah, the little guys who, tool in the sport.
Right.
But I got a chance to, work with the Petties for many years, the Richard Childress organization. Bobby Labonte, one of the drivers, hired me in 2007 to leave IMG. And it was kind of a funny relationship because we had already heard that General Mills was looking for a new agency, not because of me, but I think because of just some other factors. And the one thing I will say for any young person who is starting out in the business realm and you're controlling budgets, the very best thing that you can do, and I think this is what set me apart, is to be a master of those budgets, to be able to work with your accounting department to like under budget, on time. Like I do remember there were other accounts, I won't say the account names, that they were always like, I felt like accounting was always breathing down their necks on, hey, we need the finished numbers like 2 weeks ago, things were due. Like I just was always very much on top of that stuff. So I would say if you're on the good side of your accounting department,
They love
you'll
you.
probably, they'll love you, that
The
you
black
will,
side, not
yeah,
the red side.
yeah, yeah, the right side, not the red side. But yeah,
I love that. So then you're there and you're using that job, you're having some really great experiences, you're
yeah.
connecting, but you decide that it's just not enough.
Well, I will say it was a fair amount of time on the road. And then when you're gone on weekends, so there are PR people in our industry and they're gone 34 weekends a year.
Hmm.
I was only gone about 20 weekends a year, but that's a lot of time. And then on top of that, you have your like quarterly meetings in Minneapolis at General Mills or whatever. And so it's a lot of time on the
You're
road.
newly
And
married, right? You're newly married.
well, yeah, newly married, but all the way up until my, like, I guess my early 30s, or I guess I was probably about 30, 31 when I left. And we were lifelong savers. We always saved. So it's not like I had to do it. I enjoyed doing it. Every day was different. I think that's one of the things that was very appealing to me is that every day in the marketing world is different. You have different tasks. And I did thrive on that. But I saw a lot of people around me in the sport who I dearly loved, and they were getting really old really fast. And I mean, they were 100% married to their work. And I was too. And then I'm like, well, you know what? Do I want to like blink and then 30 years go by and I'm still doing this? And it's maybe wasn't as challenging then as it was, 5, 10 years prior.
Yeah. You said that you were savers, and I know earlier
Yep.
you said that your parents were not savers. Does that come from your
Uh,
upbringing that made you want to change that habit?
no, I don't know that they weren't savers. I just don't know that they were like my dad had a full-time job. It wasn't like the most awesome job. It wasn't a very, lucrative job. My mom worked part-time. Um, and my dad had a strong work ethic. My mom maybe didn't. Um, I think I've always had a strong work ethic. I think a lot of the people that we hung around with in high school probably did. Um, so I don't know. I think it was just always something where I wanted more for myself and I didn't want to have to live with financial stress,
Sure.
Yeah.
that they maybe had lived through.
Any tips on any saving tips while we're on the topic?
So I think, in our first home, a lot of first time home buyers, they will do 30-year mortgages. And if you just pay off one additional mortgage payment a year, that drops it down to 22 years. So I think little things like that, and just saving and investing early on. If you can save $100 a month, and put it aside and invest it, I think that's something that I'm really, and just having enough of a cushion fund. Like, we pay cash for cars, and we pay cash for new cars now. We didn't used to pay cash for cars back in the day, but like there's a lot of interest that can get eaten up. And I've always, like, credit card bill comes in, you pay it. So we don't get in credit card debt. So I'm just really cognizant about the things I buy. Can we afford those?
That's good advice. So then you decide to do something super crazy
Yeah.
and bring your love of food to the
Yes.
world. So tell us where that stemmed from. And their listeners going to learn it, but tell us like
Okay.
how that all happened.
Yes. So my parents are horrible cooks. I mean, honestly, it's like opening up cans of vegetables. It's like overcooking eggs. It's,
Sister,
I mean,
same family.
it's
No.
not,
Not you, but
Oh.
it's not culinary in the least. And so in college, I remember that was like when we were in college in the late 90s. That's when Food Network was really getting off the ground, and Emeril Lagasse was just getting started. And I would watch Food Network kind of, during my downtime, and I just kind of fell in love with the process of cooking. And I remember even in college, my family had gotten split apart. I'm trying to think of what the situation was, but my sister and my mom had to go to Cincinnati for something, and my dad came up to us. And I mean, they're happily married and everything, but there was some sort of a family situation that we had to split up. And Dad said, "Oh, well, I'll just go to Julie's for Thanksgiving if you guys are going to care." So, and I remember cooking the full Thanksgiving dinner in, my apartment and all that good stuff. And I just always been in love with cooking. So, General Mills also, working with them as a client, you'd go out to nice client dinners and you got to experience, the nice restaurants, the Le Bernardins, and, the really nice places that really and you got to appreciate, a restaurant food that much more. So I've just always been a home cook. Probably one of the big selling points to my husband was girl can cook. But his mother is a great cook too. So that was probably, he's like, okay, well, I'm still going to get well fed. I don't have to worry about that. But and maybe another tip is learn to cook, because nowadays so much money can be spent on restaurants and things like that. You can get in kind of some bad financial trouble. So if you learn to cook, there's less of that. And honestly, there are some restaurants that I will not go to that a lot of my friends might go to, because I'm sometimes a little disappointed. So I've kind of become a little bit of a food snob. Yeah. So, but yeah, so I've always loved to cook, and I thought it would, from a marketing side, it would be challenging to grow and evolve a brand from nothing. And so and my husband said, Julie, we've got money saved. If you're not 100% happy with, motorsports and NASCAR and things like that, then, do your own thing. And I helped an orchid grower get onto QVC. I mean, I did some other little things as well, just from a marketing standpoint. But yeah, the food thing has always been a passion. And I think the weird thing about me coming out with a nonfiction book is I think most of my friends thought, oh, well, she'll come out with a cookbook, or I'm noted for my crazy self-deprecating Christmas letters that I write every year.
Oh.
And so I think a lot of people think, oh, she'll write some comedy things, but
We'll have to tap into that in a second.
None of that.
Okay. All right. So you're cooking, you're experimenting. What brought you to your successful idea?
The initial recipe itself, I had a partner in the very, very beginning, and it was his deceased mother's family recipe, and it was just one flavor kind of made in a pot at home. And it, other than a name, it really didn't have anything. It had no production. When you convert a house recipe to a production recipe, you have to go through some pretty stringent processes with the state processing authority through your Department of Agriculture and the FDA and all that stuff. And so it was never a commercial recipe, and it was just one flavor that wasn't 100% perfect. So
why did you start there? And so our
I'm
listeners
sorry.
don't know yet. They might not know. So you're talking about, we'll get to in a minute.
Yeah.
They're like, what is she talking about? I don't want to get there just yet. But why did you start there of all things?
So I felt like there was a hole in the grocery industry in this category. So if it was a barbecue sauce, never in a million years would I touch it. There are so many oversaturated categories that are just so dominated by other players. The little guy has no chance of getting in. And if you end up reading The Secret Life of Groceries, which is a book, that chapter 3 is a little bit about my story within that book. I think you will understand how the grocery industry works and how much it shows favoritism toward the major manufacturers who really dominate the entire, all of the shelf.
Yeah.
So it is tougher for the little guy to get in. So you have to have one of two things for the little guy to get in. Little guy either has to come with a boatload of money, which most little guys don't have. There rarely are you going to get investors, pouring in $5 million right off the bat. It's just not happening. Or you have to have something really unique and different. And this product is a cabbage-based relish with heat undertones. So instead of a pickle-based relish that we all know, it is cabbage-based. And it's called Slawsa, slaw, salsa, Slawsa. So it's like great on your hot dogs and brats and burgers and pulled pork. So I've developed, and we just launched the 5th flavor, a blackberry version, which I had no idea would even happen, but Knott's Berry Farm out in California, the amusement park, said, can you do a berry version for us? And I'm like, well, I don't know. I've never tried that, but let's give it a try. And so I think they're going to be rolling it out next spring.
With the cabbage base, does it qualify for clean energy?
Well, it is clean energy for your gut. We should all be eating more cruciferous vegetables. Just the anti-cancerous properties, but it's super clean label, all natural, fat-free, cholesterol-free, gluten-free, really low in sodium. When you compare it to like a dill pickle relish, it has half the sodium. So it is vegan, vegetarian, but it's great on a lot of like non-vegan.
You created items. Your own space.
Yeah. So so that comes with a double-edged sword. Sure. It's something, yes, you have created your own space, and so far no one else has tried to mimic it yet. I think bigger companies, they kind of wait until the little guy with a unique item gets to a certain point, then they want to buy them out because it costs so much. And just in talking with some of my General Mills plant friends, like the amount of money you have to dump into developing something new and then the marketing on top of that, they're like, oh, it's just cheaper to go ahead and buy something that's known or going to be slowly being known. And so, it is kind of its own space, and we are a niche thing. We've been creating a cult following all across the U.S. In the last 10 years when, without investors. I purposely decided not to go that route because I wanted to create a brand a little. I'm not in it for the money. I'm in it for the satisfaction of growing something. So
we all say that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think it's so to make it, you've had like a massive commercial kitchen and
no, I have a co-packer, and I had gotten a co-packer pretty much right off the bat. So I had a great co-packer in North Carolina.
What is a co-packer for those of us?
So it is a larger scale manufacturing company that will take recipes, and you have your non-disclosures with them, of smaller companies, and then they'll also do things like private labels. So they might make your private label public steak sauce and things like that. So they manufacture per your specifications, and you kind of work your deal with them. A commercial kitchen is where most people start, but you're doing a lot of the manual labor. You have to procure all your vegetables and stuff yourself. That takes a lot of burden off of me not to have to do that. And plus, you know, for me to build my own facility, now I've got the headache of um, having to go through a lot of FDA, compliance and, um, you know, I mean,
I
just
get it. So doing it
running a
everybody else.
facility.
It's
That's
already been
that's
done
not a
before.
thing that I want to do
Was
just
their
yet.
first production run to your satisfaction?
It was actually because you do a lot of small test runs
Sure.
first.
Okay.
So I worked with this North Carolina co-packer for many, many years. They were great. They were family owned. And then they decided to sell to a private equity firm in New York who decided that they were going to dump all the little guys and just go strictly private label for
Hmm.
the grocery stores. I had an agreement with them saying, hey, you can't do that. You have to give me 6 months so I can find someone else. And this is my process on my salsa is much more labor intensive and more challenging than just like a pickle brine. So finding someone was not exactly easy. I had met some people at fancy food shows who said, "Hey, I use your I might be able to help you out with production in the future." You always take those cards thinking I'm never going to need it, but you just take the cards. And they decided the North Carolina folks, they decided, hey, we're not going to, we're big guys. We're not even going to honor it.
Hmm.
And so I had it, and it was going to be knowing that I would have to, take them to court and go through all
Hmm.
this expense. So not the nicest thing to do, but a lot of the big guys can do that. But fortunately, I did have some backups that I was able to turn pretty quickly on. Right now, my co-packer is in Georgia. I love them to death. They're easier to work with. I don't have to schedule out as far in advance. And I couldn't be happier. So, even though it was a stressful time,
Yeah.
good things do happen.
Where's all of your cabbage and everything that you source for your product come from?
Yes.
Proprietary.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
So,
proprietary? Are you the attorney? Strike for the record. No, I'm just curious.
yeah.
Is it like cabbage from South Carolina, North Carolina? Where does cabbage?
Well, yeah. So, being commodity products and vegetables, it depends on the time of year. So, sometimes I'm pulling out a cold storage up in upstate New York. A lot of my cabbage comes from upstate New York. I could get my cabbage as far south of Florida. So, it really just depends on the time of year and the growers. And so in addition to the cabbage, we have bell pepper, onion, carrot, mustard, vinegar, sugar, and spices. So some of those things we can, obviously have on hand at all times.
Yeah.
We have our specialty flavors. So I'll have a blackberry puree. I'll have a habanero mash. But I mean, primarily the cabbage, we're just kind of getting up and down the East Coast, depending on time of year.
And you were still working at this time, your other job, yes?
So no, I went ahead and I left at the end of the 2010 NASCAR season, and this kind of started up I guess I kind of started it in late 2011, and then by 2012, because the selling cycle and for grocery stores, sometimes it's a pretty lengthy process. So even if you catch them on
Sure.
a category management review, it may not set into the stores until 6 months later. So, yeah.
Yeah, with that kind of market, with a new product, it's all consuming. You couldn't have
Yeah.
worked the job and done this at the same time.
All right, total
Right.
random question. How long
Yeah.
does it take to grow a head of cabbage?
I do not know that. I
Oh.
do not know that because I don't grow cabbage. I just buy
I
it.
was curious,
She's
okay.
not a grower. She's a
I would
collector.
I would
You're waiting for the
I would
crop to be there.
assume it's a good. It's a very. I will say it is one of the cleanest vegetables. I'm guessing maybe 3 or 4 months
And
is
it's
my guess.
vociferous.
Yeah. Which means what?
It talks a lot.
Cruciferous.
After you eat it, it keeps talking to you.
Oh, got it. Yes, it gives, yeah, that is not good for the environment. The
So
things that go
how
down.
many varieties in the line now?
We have five flavors right now. Yep.
So
Yep.
then, okay, so you said you've not taken any investors, but you did take a risk of that at some point. and decided to go down the path of possibly the largest investment reality TV show we've all ever known.
Yep.
You were on Shark Tank. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, and that was kind of in the early stages. So that was 2013. By before then, and so I had this partner in the very, very beginning, but I think I don't know that he 100% quite understood the amount of work that needed to go into it. And I was putting in some of my investment into it as a 50-50 partner, financial investment to fund our production runs.
Yeah.
I don't think he understood that this is something that was not going to fall 100% on Julie's shoulders to do everything, and he just sits there. So, it was kind of surprising. About 1 year after we started, I got, and it was almost right after we had finished our partnership agreement. I got a phone call from my attorney saying he wants you to buy him out, and I'm like, "What are you talking about?"
He didn't even just tell you himself.
He wants you to buy him out, and like my knees buckled because I'm like, oh my gosh, I'd gotten us into hundreds of stores, and I had been doing the bulk of the work up until that point, and certainly the investment of running our production runs, because you have to kind of run off of an inventory system. And it shocked me. And then he was looking for, a payout. And I had to really seriously think, well, do I stop now and then I just kind of cut my losses and go, or now do I have to kind of pay for the sweat of my own brow? And I came to the latter and thought, well, it's not going to be easy, but I'm going to go ahead and do it. And then, I thought, well, maybe I'll try out for Shark Tank. And maybe my story will be compelling. And it was compelling to get on out of what, like 40 or 50,000 applicants. I didn't get the deal. They were all super nice. I would do it again in a heartbeat. When you leave the room, you don't 100% know what they say after you've left. They're still taping in there. And I was in there probably, so to back up, they taped for kind of 3 days in a row. I was the last person on the last day of taping. So I don't think I walked in there till about 7 p.m. on Sunday night. At that point.
In California?
I'm sorry?
In California?
In California. Yep. Sony Picture Studios. I was almost sweating. They may not get to me, wondering how long the person in front of you was going to go, because they got you all in your individual trailers. Someone comes and knocks at your door. It's time or it's not time. Like you don't know.
It's showtime.
It's showtime. And so your producer, preps you for, it being showtime, and you have to be a little bit more animated than you normally would. And so yeah, I walk in there about 7. I was in there about 45 minutes. Of course, that gets edited down to about 8 minutes, for me. I mean, it was good. There was a little emotion, but it was very positive. There were conversations that I wish would have stayed in, but that, got left on the cutting room floor. Mr. Wonderful, the last person to go out, was trying to get me to do a royalty in perpetuity. And I said, look, this is the grocery industry. We are based off of volumes, not margins. It does not work. Like I would make nothing and you would make everything. That's not a good deal. And so I wish they had kept some of those conversations in. I think if you saw the full unedited episode of all of the entrepreneurs, you would probably be more in the corner of the entrepreneurs themselves, because after you've gone on the show, a lot of us get invited into a private Facebook group where only people have been on the show. And so we've exchanged notes, and there are some very, very smart people who may not have looked as smart on the show. Mm-hmm. And then there are some people in there that got deals, and I'm thinking, how did you get out of bed this morning?
Good TV. It's good TV.
Yeah. So I fully believe they can edit you whatever way you want. But
and they do.
After I had left, and this is a fun little story. Mark Cuban, he had some very kind things to say. And he was really the one I was interested in. I would have loved for Barbara to be in the room, because at the time she was the only person who had invested in a CPG grocery company. None of the other ones had at that point. And so I had Lori and said, it's not a or
BBC.
QVC product. Although she loved it, she got up out of her chair and ate off of Robert and Kevin's plates, but they didn't show that, and I'm like, ah.
Mm.
So, two little quick stories. So after I left, and I'm watching it at home, I saw the nice things that Mark Cuban said after I left. And I thought, oh my God, that is so nice. And I had, before I left the studio, when I was in my trailer, before I went to the plane, I wrote them all a little thank you note and gave it to the producers or the showrunners or whatever to give to them, just to say I appreciate their time, blah, blah. It's just a nice thing to do. And so I watched the episode. He said the nice things. I immediately get on the Facebook group because I had been invited in before the airing. I was one of the few people that got invited in before the airing. And I said, look, does anybody have a contact information that I can send Mark something that he'll get it? And someone replied back to me, here's his email address. You can send him a note. I said, no. I don't want to send him an email. Like no, for real. Send him an email. He checks his email. And so I just said, Mr. Cuban, I appreciate the kind things you said, after I left the room. Is there an address I can send you a package just to thank you? And he's like, literally within 10 minutes, he's like, Julie, we're cheering for you. Love the Slawsa. Here's my home address. Let us know how we can help. And his right-hand man, Abe Mankara, at the time, started following me on social media. And I'm the only non-Shark Tank person or non-invested company that they followed for a long time. I'm like, who does that?
Thank you, Parts. Go a long way, Julie. Thank you, go a long way.
Well, I mean, I will say that if he ever wants to get into politics, and just based off of what everyone in that group has said, I would vote for him in a heartbeat. He's a good person. And what he's doing for the prescription side of, I think is very admirable. So
I have a question.
Yes.
Let's circle back to your investor that pull the plug.
Yeah.
Did you ever find out what his backstory was?
Your partner that chose to be bought out.
Why did he want out?
I think he just wanted the dollars.
Family member?
No.
Someone you knew ahead of a friend or an associate?
Someone who I knew loosely ahead of time.
Any communication?
But he was an electrician by trade. Okay. So I don't know.
So wow. So now is Slawsa like your thing? Like that's your full-time thing now, yes?
Yes.
And so like what's a day in the life for you being the CEO of Slawsa? Like what does that look like?
Very, very different. Every day is different. And that's what I think that I love about this in conjunction with what I did with NASCAR is every day was different. So some days you could be, working retailer programs, getting a lot of paperwork done with them. Some days you're doing marketing, you're active on social media. I've got a lot of grilling and barbecue influencers I work with. So I'm sending them communication, setting some things up for the future on them, promoting. I mean, every day is different. Yeah.
Where can we buy it in Florida, in Sarasota?
Not a whole lot of locations. So,
you know what? Right then we're going to give you our address. You're lucky.
Yes, I will send you some.
We'll do a trade. We're going to send you, even though you're a tennis player, we'll send you some of my dad's pickleball candles.
Oh no, pickleball. I have not. We can talk tennis. I haven't gotten like everyone's saying, Julie, get in pickleball. I'm like, I don't know that I want to do pickleball just yet. Maybe when I'm more of a doubles player and I'm not running around with singles as much, because a lot of my singles players, and I'm 4.0, 4.5, they're like, Julie, it'll mess up your ground strokes.
Interesting. It's a very different game. I can't play tennis.
Yeah.
Okay,
no,
so
and it looks fun. It does look fun.
So for Slawsa, we can buy it online, right? You can buy it online.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And it's just slawsa.com. Yep. But so you're not anywhere in the retail stores of Florida, but I would imagine, where's your biggest presence? Like where you are or where?
Well, no, I mean, all over the country. So I'm in pockets. So like in Seattle, I might have like 30 stores. I'm in a lot of independents. I'm in a lot of butcher shops. Like I think probably the closest butcher shop to you might be like up in St. Pete. I'm in, I'm telling you, there's some crazy stores that are independent stores that will literally sell like a pallet per year.
Mm.
One that does more than a pallet per year. If you go up like 75 and you just enter into Georgia, there's a place called Carol's Sausage, and they've got like campgrounds. It's like this place that everyone stops right off the highway, and they'll go through a couple pallets a year.
Wow.
Like in British Columbia, there's a place in Coombs, British Columbia called Old Country Market, and they have it's a tourist trap. They have these goats on their roofs. They sell everything, but they sell a lot of really unique items. So if people are going to the coast in British Columbia, you have to go by this place.
Sure.
Wow.
There's no other places to stop. You have to stop there.
Yeah.
And of course I've got my Canadian labels. They'll sell through. And thank God, Arthur up there, when the election happened in November, knowing that, there's going to be tariff situations, and he's like, Julie, let me buy a couple pallets from you now, because right now all my other sales to Canada are dried up. I can't do anything. None of the small businesses who were selling to Canada because of the tariffs and the reciprocals, we can't do business up there. So it's hurting a lot of small businesses.
What percentage of your business was that?
Well, Canada was not a whole lot. Canada's probably like
10.
Yeah, maybe not even 10.
But
still,
you're a small business. Yeah.
I'm a small business, and so then you kind of figure out, where can I make up for that? And then the other kind of thing. So, and we even saw this going through the pandemic. We are 100% made in the United States. Okay. All of our ingredients are made in the United States. Our glass comes from a glass manufacturer. We do have metal lids. So we know that the metal lid, we're going to see a cent or two increase on the lids just because of metal tariffs. But we receive an indirect tariff costs that will likely raise our product for us, 100% made in the USA, probably by Ten cents per jar. When that translates to the grocery store, it's about 30 cents per jar. Because our glass, even though we source in the United States, there's a lot of people who were sourcing overseas that have to get it in the United States. And guess what happens to those glass prices when the demand goes up?
No,
the prices go up.
Yeah.
And then it's just much tougher to get glass, because now the glass manufacturers have to produce all these, other, these other needs.
Starting a glass factory here in Sarasota.
Yeah, you should. You would clean up.
I have a friend who was building a website for an urn company, and she was like, "That's like just how high demand it is for the price." Anyways, sorry.
Yeah.
The cost of dying.
So we need to get you in Publix, is what I'm hearing you say.
Well, so yeah, they just finished their review and they gave us a pass. I know I want to be there. But yeah, they and the other kind of funny thing about the grocery industry, you are dependent on one buyer and their decision.
Yeah.
So they're.
What about Trader Joe's? They would love your stuff.
Well, Trader Joe's, you don't go to them; they come to you.
Oh.
They have their purveyors out there. They will not accept if you go to them. They have to kind of find you in the shows. I would love to be in Trader Joe's.
Did Publix want you to pay for shelf space?
Well, a lot of it is that. And as a woman-owned business, I can get around some of that. But I think probably the bigger issue with the industry is, and again, it is some of that shelf space that, they want you to pay $40,000 for several slots right up front. That's something that the little guy, can't afford. A big company can, because they're testing out one item and they've got 3,000 items in the store.
How many sizes do you come in?
Right now, just one, but we do have food service sizes as well.
Cost per jar, retail.
Or the
What are you, Shark Tank over here?
Sit back.
So
hold up. Cost per jar.
So like in a Wegmans, it will retail for like $5.69. So we'll be anywhere from $4.99 up to our gourmet butcher shops. They'll charge $7.99 for a 17-ounce jar.
It's so interesting. People don't realize, like when you're going to the grocery store, whatever it
Yeah.
is, Trader Joe's, Winn-Dixie, Publix, whatever it is,
Here's the
like
thing.
what it takes just for that brand to get on the shelf. It's
Yeah.
like it's so incredible. Like the work, the hard work that has to go into just to get it on the
They
shelf.
have other
On shelf.
concerns.
Yeah.
And then the first couple years, and you have to have sales right off the bat. So you have to do heavy promotions early on that you're really not making a whole lot of money on. And then in our industry, and you'll get it if you read The Secret Life of Groceries, there are good distributors, there are bad
Yeah.
distributors.
Good doctors and
And
bad doctors.
yeah, that
But they're
absolutely.
all
Yep.
doctors. What
I'm
what
curious, what's the shelf life? Because it's all natural, it's
Yeah.
all good. So what is the shelf life of it?
So we have a 2 year shelf life, and that's primarily we have a vinegar base primarily to it. So that does keep the shelf life. Now, will it be good after 2 years? Absolutely. And we've tested out for 2.5 years with no issues. I think you lose some of the crunch after an extended time. So, but shelf life, we don't have a problem with shelf life. My gosh, I would hate to be a product that is, I mean,
Yeah.
our biggest issue is that we're heavy. We have to be packed in glass because our temperatures require it, which the consumers like because it's more sustainable. But plastics would make it lighter and would make it maybe safer, less breakage. Not that we have a ton of breakage anyway, but my gosh, I would hate to be a product that is a perishable product or heaven forbid a frozen product because
that's
Yeah.
the
insane.
freight on that is insane.
Did you just see, and I don't know when your episode's airing, but like yesterday in Long Beach, California, thinking about freight, there was like 50 freight containers that fell off a ship
Oh,
into the water yesterday. I mean, watch that video and it's like
yeah.
thinking, oh my gosh, what's in those, first of
What's in it?
all?
Yeah.
But just, oh, insane.
Yeah.
Question:
Anyway,
What percent of your sales are online?
Not a whole lot. I would say, well, and that's something I'm actually working tomorrow on, to get my Amazon listings back because they had gotten hijacked. Um, I would say right now is 5%.
Okay. A lot of growth. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, a lot of potential for growth for sure. Once I get my listings back and we can start, putting some dollars into marketing, there.
Kind of a retro kind of design on the label, yes?
Yes, yeah, and that was kind of on purpose. I thought, Slawsa is great on like hot dogs and brats and sausages and stuff, and I thought of like very much a baseball script because when you're at a baseball game, you want a hot dog, or a Slawsa dog, and so yeah, so it's kind of a retro label.
So close to regular like sauerkraut, one of the flavors.
So, and that's the thing. So we are not like a traditional sauerkraut is very, very sour. I would say it's, I will send you jars and then you'll have to do a sampling or something because um, it's not like anything you probably ever had. It's tough to compare it to. The original will start a little sweet. It'll end with a little bit of heat. It will not hold that heat for very long. So it kind of encourages another bite. It's got a lot of crunch. It's got a little tang to it. There's a lot of different flavors going on in your mouth at the
Are
same
you a
time.
Costco deal maybe where they can sample it?
Um, there are potentials for Costco. Yeah, but we would have to come up with a multiple pack for them.
Sure.
They want you to do a ton of road shows, which is very labor intensive.
back to that travel aspect, yeah.
That's the travel aspect. Yeah.
Just change the name to Costla.
Yeah.
Well, I
Right.
mean, I can't believe it's already been like an hour that we talked to you. There's so many other incredible things that we're gonna have to have you back, Julie,
Okay.
when I know you're writing a book
Yeah.
and
She's
when your
still
book
she's
is
still running.
done.
You're still
Yeah.
running a long distance
Yeah,
race.
yeah, it's amazing that running, that stamina that you learned from running all the way back in your freshman year has probably helped you be a solopreneur and build a business. And it's not easy doing every single job. You don't have to send us jars. We're going to order them because I believe in supporting small businesses. And so we're going to order it right here after we get off this call. We're going to order that 6 pack and we're going to do a live like
Don't listen
tasting.
to her.
No, we're going to
Yeah.
do a live like tasting. We'll do a live tasting. Yeah, we'll do a live tasting. But I think it's just awesome. It's so incredible that we never know where our stories go. I, in high school, knew you were a runner. I had no idea that you got a scholarship. I had no idea that you like why you even got into running. And I think that
Yeah.
like my mission today is to get people to start talking about those stories earlier in life. I
Yeah.
tell my daughter every time, when you go to school, ask somebody a new question, ask your teacher a question, ask something because everybody has a story and yours is just unfolding as you start to write your
Yeah.
nonfiction one as well too, based on reality. But yeah, I think it's just so
Well,
cool.
from what our research department has told us about the other book, which is created the other side of
Yeah.
the FBI and the
Yeah. Oh gosh. Yeah. No, I am literally, I've got a lot of evidence. And this is just my chapter. This is chapter 12, and it's become a morbidly obese chapter. Unfortunately, unfortunately, I'm finding things. I've got informants. Yeah, no, so we can talk about the book later. It is regarding Helene, which is the natural disaster that happened up here in North Carolina. That I don't like, I felt like people don't know about it. Honestly, I went to a board. So I serve on the board of the Specialty Food Association. I just finished my 7th year at the end of June. So now I'm no longer on the board. So I do have a little bit more time of my life back. But I had a finance meeting the third week in October. So 3 weeks after the storm hit. And I have the smartest people in the finance committee with me from Austin and Seattle, Chicago, Philadelphia. I've got a couple in DC, New York, Providence. And we were meeting at dinner the night before our meeting. And one of the DC guys said, "Hey, Julie, I heard there was a storm down there." And I'm like, "Well, yeah." And it was oblivious. Everyone else was oblivious. They had no idea. And so I get out my phone, I start showing them, the devastation,
Yeah.
which from a topography, I had never ever seen anything like it in my life. Just the mountains, and uh, so anyway, we'll get into the book writing, but there was some scamming situations that happened, as with all disasters, and I've unfolded some of that. And before the book comes out, I will be taking all of my stuff to the FBI here locally. There are a couple situations where I think people are going to end up in prison a long time for what they've done.
problem. You got to be really careful to show so much.
I know.
You really have
Yeah.
no awareness of what you're doing. It's
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna have to have you back for that and talk
Yeah.
about it because I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I think it's just so cool, your story. I'm just so, first of all, I'm grateful that you said yes. I love that we've been in contact since 1996, in different ways. Like we've reached out a couple of different times here or there, but I think you're amazing. And I think it's really like, I love just talking to you. So thank you for saying yes. I know you're planning our 30th,
30th,
30th
30th
wedding.
next
30,
year.
yeah,
I
30th
know.
high school reunion. Insane.
30th.
Absolutely insane. But we should have a barbecue so we can have some salsa
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Or a big
Well,
pickleball tournament.
stop it.
well, you bring a paddle for me because I won't know what I'm doing.
I will.
I'm sure, like, I will not be able to get, like, you have to not go into the kitchen or something. I don't know.
Correct. And I know your love for cooking, it's gonna be
Yeah. Yeah.
But there's a facility we could rent out. We could do a whole fun thing there. People could
Yeah.
come. It would be great. There you go. Well, I'll help you plan it.
Okay.
Tell your
Awesome.
husband we thank him for his support.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Julie. It's so good seeing you. Please don't be a stranger. Stay in touch. And please listen, keep doing what you're doing because the world needs more voices like yours. And I wish you all the best of luck in your book and all the things that you're doing to support those that don't have the support for
And
themselves.
put the lights out in the pub when you leave.
Right. All right. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep getting out stories. And I think that's one of the things that we need more of.
Yeah.
Honestly, in this day of social media that can be sometimes very vicious, getting out information is really important.
Yeah, and just, I read this thing, I'll share with you. I'll end with this. It's so I have a book coming out. I think we talked briefly about that. But I saw this and I had a last minute edit because I just thought it was incredible. And it says, it's crazy to believe that social media has us convinced that 20 likes are just not enough. Just imagine 20 people actually complimenting you in real life on your cute
Yeah.
smile today.
Yeah. Yeah.
Crazy. And we look to our phones to like something, but why not just pick up the phone and tell somebody and
Yeah.
hey, I love what you're doing. I love it. It's incredible. I think we depend too much on all that, but that's a whole other episode. So
Yeah.
thank you, Julie. I appreciate you.
All
Thank
right.
you so
Thank
much.
you,
All
guys.
right.
See you next
Bye.
time. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye. Thank you
Thanks.
so much. So cool. Let's get this. Here we go. And move.
You know what Slawsa spells backwards? Always.
No, it doesn't.
Made you look.
Oh my God, seriously? Oh yeah. Okay, so we're gonna order it. I'm gonna order it right now, and then we're gonna have a tasting thing.
She was gonna give you free stuff.
I know, but you know what? Like
Don't want free stuff.
I don't want free stuff. I mean, unless it's like,
Folks, we cannot be bought.
no, I mean, I'll take free stuff. Like, feel free to send me free stuff. Like, if you want me to promote your stuff, I'll stop.
It's too
But
late.
it's not about that. It's about supporting her as a business, and I want that. I wouldn't want somebody like, hey, come give me free stuff. It's like it's about supporting her.
Based on what she's uncovering in the Helene disaster, she has to be more than cautious because if people their lives are in jeopardy, her life's in jeopardy.
Okay, well, let's not put that out there. That's like a thing I don't want.
It's already out there.
Put that out there. Let's not put that out there. I think she's doing great. I love it. She is a powerhouse. She is amazing. I'm ordering it right now. Actually, I'm going on as we're talking, ordering it right now.
Ordering always?
Shut up.
Hey.
Said with all due love and respect.
Be kind, be human. Did you hear that? It's on tape for perpetuity.
All right.
You know what perpetuity spelled backwards?
Shut up.
I have no idea. Again, 2 shut-ups in one closing segment.
Listener, thank you so much for being part of Julie's journey and hearing her story today. I hope you learned something about how, just don't give up, keep running, keep going after what you want. And thanks for being here.
Let's go to the pub for a pint.
Let's do it. All right. Peace.
Bye-bye. Hey, thank you for tuning into today's What's Your Story podcast.
To learn more or share your story, go to jamiemarco.com. That's www.jamiemarco.com. And we will see you next time.